What is up, Mizzou fans? Welcome back into another post-game show here on Show Me Football. I'm your host, Josh Fan of ShowMeFootball.com, covering your Missouri Tigers. He's Brayden Dowers, and the Missouri Tigers are now 4-0 after beating the South Carolina Gamecocks. We're going to be talking about all that and more right after this. Ladies and gentlemen, Missouri Tigers fans, we are here this evening to happily announce that your Missouri Tigers are 4-0 after beating the South Carolina Gamecocks. Unfortunately for Beamer Boy, Daddy is home. Eli Drinkwitz now 6-1 versus Shane Beamer as a head coach, going head-to-head with him. Lots to talk about in this game, Brayden. Some good, some bad, but I want to start this episode off by saying that you cannot complain about grabbing an SEC win, and you never have to apologize for winning an SEC game, and that's what Mizzou did tonight. Drinkwitz again in a close game seemed to push most of the right buttons, and 4-0. But Brayden, what are your initial thoughts on that one?
It's a really weird feeling as a Mizzou fan to be down 17-12 in the third quarter and still feel fine. Like it's a very weird feeling. Like I felt confident. I'm like, we're fine. After South Carolina got a field goal, we were down 17-12, and then we got a touchdown, and then they got another field goal, which I think put them up 20-19. Or 20-18.
20-18, yeah.
Yeah. And then we went down the field and got a touchdown and 2-point conversion. It was just a really weird feeling to be that confident and feel that good about a Missouri team. But that's the culture and that's the ability to win close games that Eli Drinkwitz has had over the past few years. The defense, which I'm sure we'll get into, had some mistakes, especially in that first half. Some, I think, are just attitude and emotional moments that are just kind of in the moment. Others are schematical and they are coaching that I think are issues that we have seen over the past few years that I don't know if we can bet on them ever being shored up. I think that Stephen Hall did fantastic tonight in the secondary. I didn't really see Jalen Cattle on that much, which can be a good or bad thing. Marvin Burks was pretty good. But Toriano Pride, I'm sorry, you can't keep playing him.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. At this point, you got to go to Hall and Norwood. And if you have to play base defense for most of the time, you roll with 4 linemen, 3 linebackers, and 4 secondary players, fine. That's what you have to do to win football games because you clearly have the depth and you have the ability at linebacker when Khalil Jacobs, Jermaine Trotter, and Tristan Newsome, and Rodriguez.
Yeah, Nicholas Rodriguez.
Nicholas Rodriguez are playing really good football. Like when you have 4 linebackers who are legitimate SEC caliber starting linebackers on your football team, and you have multiple, and you only really have 2 corners, you got to play to your strengths. Because the explosive plays on defense got to stop. But I don't want to focus too much on the negatives because Ahmad Hardy is,
and we have time for that later as well.
Ahmad Hardy is.
You said in the preview we have to wait until the Heisman campaign.
Yeah.
I'm just. Do we still have to wait? Because I'm ready.
We can start getting the tweets drafted. We can send them after the Bama game.
Yeah,
I will say that.
Obviously, I'm messing around, but no, he was fantastic again tonight. 22 carries, 138 yards, 1 touchdown.
Insane.
And Roberts was great too.
Yeah, Roberts was fantastic. He had a few runs where everybody in the stadium, like few people behind us, were going, "Oh my God, Hardy!" I'm like, "No, that's Roberts."
You know, it's funny you say that because I know you've been at the stadium for most of the games this year. But it's really funny because I swear the announcers on the broadcast several times this year have done the same thing where they're like, Hardy with another big run. And I'm like, that's Roberts.
Yeah.
And the broadcast is like, oh, excuse me, Jamal Roberts. Because they do kind of look the same. I mean, there's hardly any drop off, honestly.
No, like they're both really good running backs, and it's a crazy running back duo. And Roberts, how young is Roberts? Is he a junior?
Roberts, yeah, he's a junior.
Okay,
I believe he earned his red shirt because he played quite a bit as a freshman, even on those passing downs as a pass blocker.
Has to have Hardy and Roberts for this year and most likely next year.
Yeah.
Unless Roberts wants to go get a place where he can be a full-on bell cow, but who knows? Hopefully not. Ahmad Hardy's him. Marquise Johnson had a fantastic game. That one-handed catch
that was crazy.
Just insane.
Just it wasn't out of the air like it was no big deal.
Yeah, he said, "Oh, that's mine. Thank you. I'm gonna take that real quick." Had a fantastic game. Bo made really good throws that a certain other Missouri quarterback last year doesn't make. One specifically to Brett Norfleet. But there were 3 throws. The Marquise Johnson behind the throw behind him wasn't that great.
That's the one that sticks out.
Yeah. The interception really wasn't that bad of a throw. It was just a hell of a play by the defender. But you still probably shouldn't have made it. And then I think it was 3rd and 7. He overthrew Marquise Johnson. And then we had to punt the ball back to South Carolina with, I think, 6 minutes left in the game. And that was probably his worst moment of the night. But Bo continues to show up and he continues to make throws in big moments. He got a touchdown on 3rd and 6, or 3rd and goal from the 6. And like I said, just continues to win, continues to show up, continues to make plays in big moments and show up when this team needs him to. And that's all that you can ask for out of your quarterback when you have this good of a supporting cast. And got to give kudos to the offensive lineman as well for stepping up without Caden Green. Javon Richardson played one hell of a game.
But, yeah.
And this was probably the best the offensive line has looked all season, honestly. Yeah. Bo got sacked, and it was just him running out of bounds on what looked to be a design run play. But that got credited as a sack, and I wouldn't really say that was any of the offensive lineman's fault. And then the one thing that I want to mention before I forget about it is Robert Myers hitting that field goal at the end of the game. Makes me feel a lot better about this kicking situation. I know that he missed the extra point at the very beginning, which sucks. The fact that he's missed 2 already and missed a field goal in the Louisiana game, like, not good. But to put the weight of the game on your kicker, to make it a 2-possession game and all but guarantee the win, to put the pressure on him and make him the hero and let him get that kind of confidence and hit that 40-yard field goal, that's going to be huge down the line. I hope. I hope that is the turning point for him and that he can actually figure this out and we can actually have a decent kicking game where we can hit a field goal from within 50 and feel confident about it.
And I'm not sure if you have much more else to say in your opening monologue here, because I'm not trying to cut you off. But one thing that I really wanted to say, and I want to say it now before I forget, is we said, the kicking situation kind of scares us because you're going to have a couple games this year that maybe come down to him having to make a kick. Well, this was one of those games, and he made the kick. So that's a really good thing.
Yeah. Because you don't want Lenora Sellers with the ball with all him needing is a touchdown to win it in any game, especially this one with how he was doing. We were able to get pressure on him, and the run defense, I mean, he was seeing ghosts at the end of the game where he was scrambling immediately because he did not want to get hit. And the run defense is stellar. It is superb. It is the best run defense in the country right now. And that's really all I got to say about this team. I mean, it was probably it was a more sloppy win than you would like it to be. And if the Bo interception doesn't happen and say they go down and get a field goal or a touchdown that drive, I think there's a good shot that they're up 24-7 after their first drive in the third quarter, because they could have just absolutely demoralized the South Carolina defense. And this game looks a lot different because you continue to look at this, the total yards, the time of possession, the turnovers, the first downs, and Mizzou is doing better than who they're playing.
Yeah.
And it's just not reflecting in the scoreboard just yet. But I
Yeah.
feel like they just got to clean up a few more things, mainly the explosive plays on defense, and you're looking at a really well-rounded team.
Yeah, no, all great things, all relevant points. This was, and I said this immediately after the game was over in the group chat, but it looks a lot like Kansas, where if I just showed you the box score stats and didn't give you the final score, you would have thought Missouri ran away winning. They had almost 500 total yards of offense again, 285 rushing yards to South Carolina's -9. South Carolina was 3 of 11 on third down, while Mizzou was 7 of 13.
Yeah.
South Carolina went for it once on fourth down, didn't get it. South Carolina was sacked 5 times. Mizzou only 1, not even a real sack, like you already mentioned. I mean, in Mizzou, again, time of possession, they held the ball for 11 more minutes than South Carolina did. It's just the few back-breaking mistakes that are keeping these teams in the game. They should have ran away winning with this one. And it kind of goes back to what I said in the preview, where it's like Mizzou should beat this team handily, and they are the better team. And they showed throughout the night. Like, and I said this in the group chat as well, Brayden. I also said it whenever I was on the Power Mizzou board, because I usually hop in the game threads and I'll post on there. But I was like,
lazy journo.
Well, I remember in the third quarter, I just remember thinking to myself, it is unfathomable how we're down in this game, and yet we are absolutely dominating on the line of scrimmage on both sides.
Yeah.
Like, our defensive line just, they were putting pressure on Sellers all day, man, all day. And then offensive line, like, South Carolina could do nothing to stop it. Shout out Keegan Trost, completely shut down Dylan Stewart in this game. And then shout out, of course, take a bow, Javen Richardson, who came in for the injured Caden Green, who was injured in practice this week, ended up being ruled out for this game. Didn't miss a beat. And he looked so good, in fact, that I was asking myself after the game if once Caden Green does come back, and we'll talk about that a little bit later because Drink gave an update on that. But I was asking myself, do you move Caden Green back to guard when he comes back and just ride with Richardson at tackle if this is what he's going to look like against SEC competition?
Yeah. I think you might, because we're definitely having problems at the right guard position with slotting Gadice over to left guard, because we're rotating guys in and out there and can't really seem to find a legitimate spot. And with Richardson playing as well as he did at left tackle, it's kind of like, you got to put the best 5 out there. And if he's doing that good and doesn't give up any pressure and is letting, like, there were so many good runs to the left side of the line tonight.
Yeah. No, he was good for sure. And I will say, though, I obviously want to see a little bit more, because Mizzou did play with a lot of tight ends. There are multiple tight end sets tonight blocking, and they also ran the ball a lot. And I think some of that was because of not having Caden Green out there. But Javen Richardson was great, all things considered.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, and then the Bo interception, like, Bo knew as soon as he threw that you can't do that. Yeah. And I agree with you completely. If he doesn't throw that interception, I think Mizzou probably does run away with this one. That was really the play that kind of, I think, really kept South Carolina in it.
Because right after that, they got the taunting penalty on what was a play that would have made it like 3rd and 9. And we got a taunting penalty, gave them a first down.
And actually, hold on real quick. I'll interject. This is a great point to say it, because I don't want to talk about it any more than what I'm about to say right here. Refs were awful in this game.
Yeah. Terrible. Just both sides. Honestly, both sides just got awful. There was a play in the first quarter, and maybe somebody can explain it to us in the comments down below, but me and my dad were thoroughly confused by it. There was a play where they called it holding, and they added it to the end of the run, which is not how holding has ever worked to my understanding or knowledge whatsoever, unless there was some weird wrinkle to why a holding call can extend it. So if anybody has the answer to that, please explain it to me. But they called a holding call after the end of the run, which was bizarre to me. And besides that, there was missed PI calls, like you said. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, another thing I was going to mention about Bo with the interception is that there was a rumor this week, and I saw it start out on Power Mizzou, and then people started talking about it on Twitter that Bo had a right hand injury or throwing hand injury, and someone took a picture of his post-game interview for Louisiana, and you could see his right hand was kind of puffy looking, like it got rolled up on or something like that. And it would make sense because he's been hanging some of his throws uncharacteristically high the past 2 weeks since that injury supposedly occurred. Yeah. So
and that's what the Marquise
I'm kind of thinking
was on 3rd and 7. It was pretty.
Yeah, because I'm kind of thinking that might be what it is. And luckily you have UMass coming up and then a bye week after that. So hopefully that doesn't bother him anymore, because it's really shame, because like I think the box score also the last couple of games for Bo Pribula has kind of done him a disservice and has not really told you how good he was. He didn't have a great game by the numbers, 16 of 27 for 171 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. But outside the interception, he didn't really make any plays to lose you the game. He was great on the ground in this one. He also added 72 yards rushing himself.
Yeah.
He's just a winner, and he made a couple throws. You already mentioned it. The one to Norfleet in the first half, fantastic ball placement. The missile to Joshua Manning in the end zone, really good. There's just a couple throws that he hung a little bit high in this game, and I think it's a little uncharacteristic of him, and I think he'll improve on that, and we'll get back to throwing the ball a little bit more, because I thought they'd throw the ball in this game more than they did, just because I thought South Carolina would be selling out to stop the run, and so that would kind of open things up in that regard. But I guess Mizzou just decided, yeah, they're selling out to stop the run, but they can't stop the run, so they'll just keep running it. And man, 285 rushing yards as a team to South Carolina's -9. I mean, this is what is going to win Mizzou games this year, man, is just the ability to run the hell out of the football, earn that time of possession belt, and just wear teams down, man. Like, they got better as the game went on, and that's been kind of a theme of Drinkwitz teams year in and year out, is they just kind of wear you down, and they're better than you in the fourth quarter, and they're just making the plays to win the game.
That's something that I was going to talk about, because me and my dad were talking about it at halftime where we were down. I'm like, we're a second half team. We just have to kind of accept that. That's just what Eli Drinkwitz does. His teams are just going to wear you down, and they may not be winning in the first half, but they're going to have probably more yards than you, more the time of possession is going to be better. And that, I mean, they are fully leaning into that this year, where we are going to wear you down. We are going to run it down your throat, and you cannot do anything about it. And come the fourth quarter, we are going to be a significantly better football team than you, and there is nothing that you can do about it. That's just the idea of Eli Drinkwitz's entire team. That's his entire philosophy, is just wearing the other team down. And it's working. It's worked the last 2 years. And I think this is the best group of guys to do exactly what he wants to do on offense and defense.
Yeah.
We are dominating the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball in every single game so far. And Bama's going to be the first legitimate test, and it's going to be the biggest test all year, I think. But I feel really confident about these guys and their ability to just show up and make really good calls, or make really good, big plays.
Yeah. Well, good calls too, because I mean, I think Kirby Moore had a really good game.
Oh, yeah.
If there was one gripe,
one of, and I know I texted it to you, I thought that was one of his best play calling games since coming to Mizzou. Specifically, it was 1st and 20, and I know that nothing ended up coming out of the drive, but the play call where he went to Bo on a QB draw, which got us 13, was so just perfect play call to get us back and put us in the ability to get a first down. I know eventually we didn't, but it got us. Like, the process of it was just beautiful and perfect. And it's exactly how you get out of a bad holding call that sets your offense back, and to just maneuver his way out of it and get us back ahead of the sticks was just really good job. And there's multiple other times where
Was that the play where, because I'm trying to remember, because I think there was 2 big bow runs there late in the game. And there was one where if Connor Tollison held his block for like a second longer, he would have scored.
No, it was on our own. It was on our own side.
Okay. Because there was another run.
Tollison did have a really good block on it. He was on a combo block and then just moved, like, immediately got off of it and then moved to the linebacker and just shoved him out of the way. And then Bo was able to get 13. It just beautiful execution, beautiful design, like, really good play. But what else?
I was going to say my one gripe with Kirby though tonight was the last 2 play call at the very end, almost like they were playing for the field goal, or like, the last 2 plays were like, I think it was a Bo QB draw and then like a trick play to Kevin Coleman. And it's like, man,
the trick play to Coleman, it feels like if he cut inside on that, I think he could have gotten the first.
Well, the reason I hated that is because you're running the ball so well in this game. An absolute worst case scenario in that situation, if you hand the ball off to Ahmad Hardy or Jamal Roberts, maybe they fall down at the line of scrimmage and you get no gain. But they ended up losing yards on the Kevin Coleman play. And when your kicker situation's iffy, it's kind of like, why are you doing that? Just a poor decision in my opinion. But also a couple plays before that, Jamal Roberts, he had a big run, but then he went out of bounds. And he should have stayed in bounds because that saved South Carolina the timeout and made the end of the game a little bit more interesting. But also, can I just say, too, the way that the defense was playing the last couple drives of the game, had it come down to us having to get a stop on Lenore Sellers and the South Carolina offense at the very end, I actually was strangely confident that we would have gotten it. I don't know how you felt, but
I don't know how I would have felt, because at the end of the game, I was getting very worried that that's what was going to happen, is that we are going to miss the field goal and then the Sellers would go down the field and score, because you don't know the kind of mentality that that's going to put the defense in, where it's like, fuck, we have to actually go play now. And just that kind of annoyance, because you could definitely feel that after the Bo interception, and then after the taunting call, where the defense just kind of gave up that entire drive. And that happened in the Kansas game too, where after a penalty, Kansas just kind of went down the field and scored. But specifically that drive where Norwood just kind of let up a touchdown, it was just lazy. Like, everybody got lazy and they were just kind of done with the drive and they got kind of sick of it. And you can just tell when that happens with this Missouri defense. And that's kind of an issue that's on the coaching, in my opinion, is that they just kind of lay down whenever things don't go their way at times, because they're so used to things going their way. Because we've seen 2 touchdown drives in 2 separate games where the defense just kind of gifts the other team 7 points off of something that maybe shouldn't have happened, that wasn't their fault. And that's kind of mentally weak. And that's something that really, I think, needs to get shored up, because the mental mistakes and the coaching execution that allows these explosive plays to continue to happen is what's going to hold us back this year, because every other facet of the game is genuinely been almost flawless. Like, there's little minor, like, there's specific plays that may not go our way, but the overall theme and the overall concepts that we're trying to do work so incredibly well that it's like, if you can just shore up this one thing, we're winning. We win this game by 25. We win this game by 31. We win this game 41-10. If you don't let those explosive plays happen. And what I said in the pregame was, if you let Lenore Sellers throw for 200 yards, you're going to blow them out. Lenore Sellers threw for 300 yards, and we played in a close game. If you let Lenore Sellers throw for 400 yards, you're losing this game. And that's what happened last year.
Yeah. And I'm almost ready to talk about the defense, but there's one more thing I wanted to say about the offense. But it was nice to see Marquise Johnson have another big game. He had been quiet for the past couple weeks, kind of almost at the expense of Kevin Coleman. And not really, but kind of. And Kevin Coleman was quiet, but like, you know, it's nice that you have those two as a duo because it just kind of feels like one of them's always going to show up. And I will say, like, Kevin Coleman tonight, I think one of the reasons why he didn't have a huge game is because he was having to get taken off the field so that Mizzou could run multiple tight ends out there. And also you just ran the ball a lot in this game. So that explains a lot of it.
One last thing on offense that I want to say, the Brett Norfleet catch in the first quarter, beautiful ball placement. One of the best catches I've ever seen by a Mizzou tight end. Just phenomenal.
Yeah, it was great. You know, what's crazy is there's like already been several candidates this year for Mizzou players for like the catch of the year.
Yeah.
But between the Olugbade catch against Kansas, Norfleet, the Marquise Johnson one, like that was so crazy to see, like just plucking it out of the air. I can't get over that.
The ball just stopped in his hand. Like I was weird to watch in person too. Like it wasn't just on the broadcast. Like that was a incredibly weird thing to watch in person.
Yeah, no, that's man. Yeah, I love this offense. I think we know exactly what we're going to get out of this offense, and I'd say they performed about to what I expected them to do in this game.
Yeah,
just got to be a little bit better in the red zone. If I were to complain about one other thing, but I think you always knew that their time was coming, and they definitely showed up when they needed to and wore South Carolina down, everything like that. On the defensive side, so Brayden, as you know, as most people that have been watching us for a while know, I'm very optimistic about this Mizzou team most of the time. And I'm still optimistic about this team. I'm not, for the record, I'm not saying this as if I'm about to say the sky is falling or anything, because definitely not. But I've given the secondary some slack. I've kind of made excuses for their play early on when there were some warning signs in the first few games. I'm officially concerned about the secondary. It's just, man, you can't, like, the busted coverages. And it's funny, Brayden, because you were saying, like, you know, you can't do this against South Carolina because Sellers makes those throws. Well, there was a couple that Sellers even missed in this one.
Yeah.
But it's like, how long?
In their first drive, they had a completely busted coverage because I think it was Burks. I believe it was Burks. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure it was Burks. Bit down on an underneath crossing route where there was already a corner and man following him, which left another deep crossing route completely open because the other safety couldn't get across the field because he had to defend the deep post. And like watching it live, I'm like, what the hell? Like whenever I watched the safety drop, I was losing my mind because I knew that's exactly what was going to happen. And thank God they didn't get a touchdown on it because they really should have.
Mm-hmm.
And I guarantee you South Carolina fans are saying the exact opposite of us, where it's like, if they hit that play, they might win this game.
Sure.
Like that's maybe the difference.
Yeah. And I'm concerned, and I haven't like given up hope on them or anything like that. Cause I refuse to believe that the secondary is as bad as we've seen. Like they have the guys at this point. Like I'm done. Like I'm not going to sit here and say they don't have the talent. Cause you brought in Jalen Catalon, who's an All-American at his last stop. You brought in Santana Banner, who started all 12 games as a true freshman at Northern Illinois. Dalen Carnell is a veteran, a very good veteran in this secondary. Dre Norwood, I mean, he's been locked down for most of his time at Mizzou. Like they have talent. They have the guys. They hit the portal hard for secondary. Stephen Hall, I think, is a good cornerback.
Hall's been really good. I've liked Hall.
And when you see, there was one play where he could have made a play on the ball, but that's neither here nor there. When you have these guys as out of place as they are, to me, that's coaching. And Corey Batoon has to get his you-know-what together. And Drinkwitz, he said this after the game, and it was kind of a surprising comment from him because you don't take him as the kind of guy to throw people under the bus, but that's kind of what he did with the defense and secondary coaches. He said in the post game, like, we gave up almost 300 yards, or we gave up 300 yards passing. The secondary, like, I'm going to get into some coaches, when we get in the film room or film review for this game, because I'm sick of this. That's basically what he said after the game. And I don't know what's going on, but it's got to get tightened up. And it is very reminiscent of last year, because the secondary, it was like a busted coverage 50-yard touchdown was like a gimme at least once a game. It was like Corey Batoon's signature. But they did end up playing better towards the end of the season. And I'm just hoping that's kind of what it's going to be again this year, is that, you're getting the jitters out now. I'm not trying to make any more excuses for this secondary the way they're playing, because like I said, I'm officially concerned, but I'm just hoping that you're getting the jitters out now, and eventually they will tighten up, because I refuse to believe this is a talent issue. I think this is a coaching issue, and they need to do a much better job getting guys in a position to make a play.
For sure. I think so. Last year, the defense was just weird last year, because the first half, it felt like you were just letting up nothing but explosive plays, and the run defense was really good. And then the second half of the year,
they were great on third down last year too. But then it was like,
yeah.
And they're one of the best third down defenses again this year, and they were in this game. They held South Carolina to 3 of 11 on third down, but it was like the 3 third downs they gave up were all like touchdowns.
Yeah.
It's just insane. Not touchdowns, but led to points at least.
Big plays. But no, last year, first half, just nothing but explosive plays. That's how offenses were scoring against us. And then the second half, our run defense was just terrible. Like, our run defense just became absolutely atrocious. And I remember, granted, the Arkansas game was in the snow, so they probably weren't passing the ball, but they just could not tackle.
Yeah.
Like, they just completely forgot how to tackle in the second half of the season last year, it felt like. Because I remember Oklahoma had most of their yards against us through the running game. Whereas this year, the running defense, I think, is going to be a lot more shored up, because I just think there's way too much talent. And I think that the opponents that we're playing aren't going to have as good of running games as we faced last year. But I don't know, but I hope that the explosive plays just kind of fade out and go away.
Yeah.
But I just hope that it's not at the expense of the run defense randomly becoming bad like it was last year. But I like the 3rd and 37. That's inexcusable. You can't almost let up a 3rd and 37. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry.
That's like some Steve Spagnuolo stuff right there.
That's completely inexcusable. To almost let happen, and for them to go from 3rd and 37 at the 50 to in chip shot field goal range it's inexcusable. You can't let that shit happen. Like, you play this kind of defense against Bama, and you're not winning that game.
No,
Kai Simpson probably makes the throw on the busted coverage that Sellers missed, because Sellers missed a few of those throws. He made more than Jalen Daniels, and we're probably going to end up like John Mateer, better quarterback than Sellers, better quarterback than Daniels. Like, we're going to only get consistently better quarterback play. I know there's a few that probably won't be as good and won't be able to hit the deep balls, but there are going to be better, and we're going to have to be ready. And I don't know if we're going to be. And that's what concerns me. I think that Stephen Hall's good. I think that Jalen Catalon's good. I think that Marvin Burks has shown improvement, especially tonight. He made some
hits tonight.
He had some really good hits tonight. He's playing really good in the box. And I know that his instinct is to look in the backfield and have his eyes in the backfield. But you can't have that happen. And I think, like you said, we have all of these uber talented guys, but they're just in the wrong positions and they're not able to make the plays. And that falls on the coaching. Besides Toriano Pride, I just think that he just sucks, just flat out. I don't like watching Toriano Pride play football, because it feels like almost every single time when he's in man coverage, he's letting up a deep ball. Because the big play, I think it was to Nick Harbor, where they got like a 40-yard gain. He was turned around looking at the sideline, not knowing what the hell he was supposed to be doing 2 seconds before the play started. Like, he was not set at all whenever he let up a really big catch. Just
I believe he also allowed the big one, the first big Sellers pass. It was a free play, actually.
Yeah.
He got beat. I forget the receiver for South Carolina. It was I could pull it up here in about 2 seconds. It was oh gosh, who was it? Jacobs. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce his first name, but Jacobs. He had 7 catches, 128 yards tonight. He had the big one on Pride at the beginning, and I just thought, man, like how I don't know if he was thrown off by the free play or the penalty flag being thrown and just like stopped running or what, but can't happen. Just can't happen.
Was that the first touchdown that they got?
Yeah, the first one.
He had a few others where he just same shit, and I don't know what the excuse for running him out there constantly, unless he has dirt on Corey Batoon is. But it feels like you have Dalen Carno, who's been a veteran in this program for years. Drayden Norwood has been pretty locked down so far. He had a few rough moments today, like that the second touchdown that South Carolina got, and then I think he let up 2 other catches for first downs.
He also got dinged up in this game. I should mention that he went into the medical tent at one point.
Okay, so if he's doing all of this while playing banged up, then like he's still better. And then Stephen Hall, I've been impressed with him. Jalen Catalon really hasn't shown up too much, but he's not doing anything like noticeably bad. And then
there was the one touchdown they gave up. Sorry again, but there was one. I think it was Stephen Hall and Jalen Catalon on one of South Carolina's touchdowns. They both looked at each other and threw their arms up, and they were like, "Who had him? Did I have him? Did you have him?" That is coaching. That is 100% coaching.
Yeah. And I don't know if we need to fire a defensive backs coach or Drink needs to have a.
He was pretty pissed.
Or Drink needs to have a pretty stern talking to Corey Batoon or what, but something has to give, and Drink knows it, and Corey Batoon better know it. Otherwise, it might be his job. Because Drink is holding these guys to an incredibly high standard because he knows the talent that he has on his team.
I don't know. I think I like Corey Batoon, but I've seen that nickname for him a few times on like Mizzou Twitter.
It's too hard to pass up.
I know. Like this, I don't want him to fail, but I got that nickname loaded up in case things keep going this way. But yeah, it's like we came.
At least he won't be no Snake Baker.
Yeah, for sure.
Could you imagine if Blake Baker was their defensive coordinator now?
I know.
That's
because he's wasting his talent with Brian Kelly. But that's besides the point. We came into the year thinking the defense was the strength, and I still think it can be.
Yeah.
But man, and I made this comment at one point during the game. I was like, if the forward pass wasn't allowed, like we might be the best defense of all time because the defensive line was awesome. The linebackers are this is like a generational linebacker room that Mizzou.
Yeah,
I don't know if people understand that.
I would like to say something about Khalil Jacobs, which is something that we have said multiple times about his spying ability on quarterbacks.
Yeah, he was in there a lot on third down.
He makes it absolutely impossible for quarterbacks to scramble on him. When he is on the field, quarterbacks cannot scramble. Lenora Sellers had almost no rushing yards tonight.
Negative 28, in fact, from all the sacks. And also, Lenore Sellers took some bad sacks in this game. Really bad sacks. And I actually saw this post on the South Carolina 24/7 board, and it actually got a ton of upvotes from their fans. So if there's any South Carolina fans watching this game, I would love your input on this. But there were some South Carolina fans talking about how they think Lenore Sellers is playing to save his body for the NFL because he's being kind of lazy in the way that he's playing and his footwork is sloppy. And a lot of fans think that he's not as locked in as he was last year. They think he's much better than he's played so far this year.
Maybe, but I think that you can attribute that to a really bad offensive line, and he's trying to play Superman and make plays. And sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. That's just the nature of hero ball. And when you have a guy like Khalil Jacobs who completely takes your ability away to run the ball and scramble, sorry, you're not going to be able to play hero ball. And that was if we had Khalil Jacobs in the game against South Carolina last year, we probably win, honestly, because Sellers isn't able to scramble. And
yeah, that's a good point.
if
He's probably a better tackler than anyone we had in that game.
Exactly.
Because we couldn't tackle, but
Jalen Daniels wasn't able to scramble against us. Main reason why? Khalil Jacobs. He can just lock down, spy on quarterbacks, doesn't allow him to run, and it is the most beautiful thing to watch of all time. And the dude genuinely might get a job in the NFL because of it.
Yeah, like, well, the front seven, like that's what makes the secondary play so much more frustrating, is because they have a really, really good front seven to go along with what they have. And Nicholas Rodriguez was another one that flashed several times tonight. Should have had a pick.
Yeah,
we should have had multiple
there
picks.
There was two picks that we should have had.
Yeah, absolutely should have had multiple picks on Lenore Sellers in this game. They had him confused at times. So there's a foundation for the secondary playing better. And look, they were actually pretty good in the final quarter and a half or so. They were actually in position to make a play on the ball as opposed to most of the first half. But the defensive line, because I haven't really focused on any names on the defensive line yet, but I thought Damon Wilson was good in this game. He flashed. I know he drew at least one holding penalty. I thought Darius Smith, this was his best game yet.
Multiple plays that should have drawn holding penalties.
Oh, for sure.
That didn't.
I know Nate Johnson had a sack. Darius Smith, he had multiple good delayed pressures, or
8 tackles for a loss today
for our defense. Yeah. And 5 sacks. I mean, they were great. And
Nick Rodriguez had 1 tackle for a loss, 1 sack, and 2 passes defended.
He was all over.
And he's our 3rd best linebacker, probably 3rd or 4th.
And then the one guy that I haven't said yet, but I thought he was just a menace tonight, was Zion Young. He was great. He had multiple tackles on Lenore Sellers. He read some of those plays like a book. He was the one that had, so when South Carolina got the big pass play and they were at the 1 yard line or 2 yard line or something like that, Zion Young had the first really big sack to drive South Carolina back. And that was the drive where South Carolina, it was the 3rd and 37 or whatever, and we almost gave it up, which, by the way, there was a penalty called on that play. There was a penalty called, I believe. Or there was the penalty before that play, sorry. And Drinkwitz actually ended up, I think it was a holding. Drinkwitz ended up declining the penalty to make it 4th down instead. He accepted the penalty, sorry. And that kept it 3rd down. Mm-hmm. He should have declined the penalty to make it 4th down and make South Carolina kick, because I didn't trust the secondary at that point. He should have.
Whenever it was 3rd and 37.
Yes, yeah.
I don't know, because it takes him out of field goal range. And you got to trust your guys. You can't.
But you got to think too, their kicker also isn't very good. So I don't know.
I don't disagree with Drink's decision making, because, like I said, you got to trust your guys. You got to show confidence in them, because if you decline it and just let South Carolina take the field goal, that's pretty demoralizing for your defense and shows so little confidence in them to be able to stop South Carolina on 3rd and 37, that you just let them take a easier field goal shot when you have the ability to let them, or to force them to punt or not get any points whatsoever. So that's a big mentality thing, I think. So I don't necessarily think that was wrong by Drink.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And I mean, I guess I can't, I'm not trying to fight Drink on that. I think it's kind of hard to argue with his late game coaching. Most of it, that is, over the past couple of years. I think it's just, you got to stop the busted coverages and the back-breaking mistakes, because if they can just, and it feels like we've said that after every game this year already, but if you can just cut down on that and tighten up in the secondary, this team is good. It's really good. And they should have won this game by a lot more. They really should have.
Like I said, you could have won this game 41-10, honestly. You didn't, but they won. And that's what matters. You got an SEC win. I know we harped on the defense a lot and we nitpicked a lot of little mistakes, but it's tough love. And that's what Drinkwitz is going to do. That's what the coaching staff's going to do in the film room. And it's just things that we know that this team is going to have to get better at if they want to play good against Bama and beat them, because you can't play the way that you did today against Bama and win. And you have the UMass game in a bye week to fix it. And I believe in Eli Drinkwitz, and I believe in Corey Batoon, and I believe in Kirby Moore, and I believe in their ability to get this team ready and get this team prepared for that Bama game, because 11 a.m. kickoff, that might not really be that easy for Bama, because Mizzou's going to be up and ready for it. Bama, like, they could very easily get punched in the mouth. I don't want to look too far past the UMass game, but it's UMass. So,
yeah. I will say, I'm going to give the defense credit though. The last couple, or the fourth quarter, really.
Yeah. Didn't let up anything.
They needed to get a stop, and they got one.
Mm-hmm.
And then the offense got the ball back. And then it was essentially a 3-and-out for the offense. And then you're like, well, dang, I hope we didn't just waste the one stop the defense got.
Mm-hmm.
And then the defense kind of had their backs against the wall, and they got another stop again after that. And then the offense kind of finished it off from there. So, I mean, in the biggest moments of the game, they came up with a stop. There's still a lot to improve on. I think that's always a good thing too, is when you're winning these games and there's still a lot to improve on, because you'd much rather, win than lose. I know that goes without saying, but I think there's still a lot of room to grow for this Mizzou team that's 4-0, ranked in the top 25. You just beat your first SEC opponent this year. And I know we said basically in the preview that South Carolina sucks coming into this game, because they have sucked this year. But both you and I did say and pretty much agreed that Lenore Sellers is one of those players that can kind of will his team to victory even when they don't deserve to win. And he showed that he has that ability in this game. And despite that, Mizzou absorbed that, and they still came out with the victory. So, like I said, never apologize for winning an SEC game.
Nope.
So,
and one last guy that I wanted to mention, I don't know if we've mentioned him yet because it is past 1 a.m. and I am incredibly tired. Josiah Trotter is just the greatest linebacker of all time.
First defensive player to win the Heisman trophies since ever.
Charles Woodson. Yeah.
Yeah. Charles Woodson.
Travis Hunter doesn't count. No, just insane. So good. Just like All-American sophomore. We got 2 sophomores who could potentially be All-Americans.
Yeah.
Which is insane. Like, Trotter just shows up everywhere. And his energy that he brings, and I know it led to him getting a taunting penalty. I don't give a shit. If that's the cost, if the cost of Josiah Trotter playing like an absolute madman is a taunting penalty, fine. Give him the 15 yards. He's going to take away 50.
Yeah. No, that's a great point. There's a couple more things I'm going to touch on, and then we'll wrap this up. Drinkwitz did officially comment on the Caden Green injury now. The rumor that I saw circulating was turf toe, which makes sense because he came into this game wearing a boot on the field. Drinkwitz mentioned how it was an injury in which they put him as probable on Wednesday because they thought it wasn't that bad. And then they did MRI imaging on Thursday and found out that it was a little bit worse than they thought. Caden Green already had the surgery on Friday for what I believe is turf toe. Drinkwitz said it's a 3 to 5 week injury. I think absolute best case scenario, he's back for Bama. Worst case, Auburn, probably. Definitely not ideal to lose him, but I think you avoided worst case scenario, and I think you can survive this stretch without him. And when I say survive, I mean like it's not going to derail your season, because you might lose to Alabama, but you can lose to Alabama and it doesn't change anything about your goals for this season, really, because I think Alabama was a game that a lot of people predicted as a loss anyway. Obviously, you still want to win, but that's not going to derail your season. And then if you can just get them back for Auburn, I think that would be ideal. And then the other thing unless you had something to say.
Nope, go ahead.
The other thing I was going to touch on is crying Shane Beamer, really. I mean, the dude's a crybaby. Brayden,
Did,
I don't
did
know
he
how much
bitch
you
about
actually
the locker room again, or about the press conference room?
know, but the
Great
social
troll
media
job by the
team,
social media team.
yeah,
Fantastic.
they put
A
out a
plus
video,
plus plus.
guys. If you haven't seen it yet, go to the Mizzou Twitter page, but they put out a video 2 years ago. Shane Beamer was complaining about the visitors press conference area because of the construction Mizzou had going on, and they clipped that and then showed a video of their press conference room for this year, which was like in a dingy, dark room with just a table and a blank black backdrop for Shane Beamer. And I didn't even watch his post game press conference. I don't know what he said, but I just can assume that he was whining and complaining the entire time. Because Brayden, you had the pleasure of not watching the broadcast where the camera was on Shane Beamer a lot, and every time it was on him, he was crying about something.
You can see him on the sideline literally run out onto the field. There were multiple times that, and this is what almost got me into a fight, which is a story I'm not going to get into. But yes, I did almost get in a fight at the game. But you could see Shane Beamer running onto the field multiple times to just scream. And I'm like, dude, get back on the damn sideline. I mean, it's genuine. He's one of the most pathetic coaches in college football, if not the most.
And he may not be very soon because South Carolina fans are very sick of him.
I can't blame him. Like, genuinely, I don't like. I know Drinkwitz has his moments where people say that he has like the most punchable face in the SEC, this, that, and the other. And yeah, like he's a guy that if he's the coach for your team, you love him. If he's the coach that's not on your team, you absolutely hate him. And I get it. I understand how Eli Drinkwitz can be incredibly unlikable because he says some pretty colorful quotes. Shane Beamer just talks out of his ass and has absolutely nothing to back it up and just seems completely insufferable.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you stand the guy? He just seems so arrogant. Just wild.
I was reading their board though, and they had a thread going about Beamer and how they were just sick of him. And there was a South Carolina fan, and he was like, I'm jealous of what Missouri has built under Eli. And I was like, great time to be a Missouri fan,
hope
man.
that
You see stuff like that.
I hope that one guy that posted about how he hated Mizzou more than he hated Clemson.
Oh yeah.
I hope he's having an absolutely terrible night. I hope that his night was absolutely abysmal. Though Clemson did lose, and I will say, whenever I ate at Shakespeare's today before the game, and it was pretty cool to watch South Carolina fans just lose their minds over watching Clemson get the shit kicked out of them. So I hope they can take that back to Columbia with them. So hope that the Gamecocks fans that watched that I talked to and watched the game with at Shakespeare's had an absolute blast watching that, at least.
Well, that's good. That's good. But no, I think that's a good place to wrap it up, though. I don't think there's really anything else to say. I mean,
no, I got through all the notes that I had.
4-0, you can't really complain. I think we hit all the relevant points. Definitely let us know down in the comments, guys, what your thoughts were on this one. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe so more Mizzou fans can find this. You can check out my work on showmefootball.com. Follow the Twitter, Show Me FB. Before we go, Brayden, I would ask for your movie recommendations. We did our preview like 2 days ago. I'm not going to ask again. I have a better question for you, though, before we go. Should Illinois still be ranked after this weekend?
No.
Did you see the score of that game?
Yes. That was hilarious.
How were they ever in the top 10? It's just beyond
I don't know. And we talked about it in one of our preseason videos about why is Illinois number 12? We also said, why is South Carolina number 13? We also said, why is Boise number 25? And among other things, just the blatant disrespect that Mizzou got, whereas Illinois got ranked number 12 or number 12. It's late.
Yeah.
But the fact that they got up to inside the top 10 and up to number 9, they shouldn't be ranked next week, and nor will they, in my opinion. You can't lose.
South Carolina will just drop out completely.
Has there ever been an AP top 10 team to lose by 6 or to have 63 points scored on them
I don't know, but here's the thing. Because when South Carolina dropped out after they got blown out by Vanderbilt, I saw a lot of people say, when's the last time someone went from top 10 just out completely? And I couldn't remember. And now it's about to happen in
Yeah, it's
back-to-back
about to
weeks.
happen back-to-back weeks.
That's kind of crazy.
I love this sport.
I know. Absolutely insane. One more thing I want to say, though, and then we'll wrap it up, I promise. I just want to go on a quick little mini rant here. I am so sick of the Oklahoma suck-off. Because as soon as they won today, everyone's like, Oklahoma, John Mateer, Heisman.
They were losing in the fourth to Jackson Arnold.
Yeah, exactly. And the SEC, the officiating was so bad in that game because the refs took away 14 points or gave
like the
Oklahoma
SEC
14 points.
had to come out with an official statement.
Yeah, they made it. How often does that have to happen where the SEC has to come out with the statement and say we were so bad officiating this game? But what I was going to say is I'm so sick of the Oklahoma suck off because they barely scraped by the team that is led by the quarterback in which they ran off last year. And the refs gifted them 14 points.
Yeah, I'll say this. I didn't get to watch the entire game, but the fact that John Mateer and this Oklahoma offense is so sucked off and Auburn's defense has been pretty bad. Like they let up, I think, 16 points to University of Southern Alabama, and they let up, I think, 24 points to Baylor. Baylor honestly should have scored more in that game. And they're not that good of a defense. So for Oklahoma to only score 24 against them at home and for them to only it takes a late touchdown for them to win that game. Nothing about Oklahoma has really been too impressive. And I don't want to put my foot in my mouth because I don't know.
But they're getting talked about like they're Ohio State.
I know.
Something.
It's just so weird to see this much hype around them. And I still think that that's a game that Mizzou probably loses, honestly. I'm not too confident going into Norman. So I don't want to put my foot in my mouth and say Oklahoma's getting overhyped because I do think that Mizzou probably doesn't win that. But they're being talked about like they're national title contenders. And we on the car ride home, they were talking on the radio, is Oklahoma a contender for the SEC title? It's chill the hell out.
Yeah.
They beat Auburn in Michigan.
Barely.
Michigan barely beat Nebraska on the road. Cool. You beat a freshman quarterback on the road at night. Congrats. You beat your old quarterback that you just ran out of town. Congrats.
Yeah. Not impressive. John Mateer, 300 yards on 36 attempts. Yeah. Who cares? He was not good in the first half either. But we will go ahead and end it there. So, again, let us know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. I already said everything. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Everything will be down in the description as always. Brayden, unless there's anything else, I think you know the drill. So, MIZ.
ZOU.
And we'll see you all in the next one.